Hey guys, how's it going? I thought tonight, in the interest of time, which this week started out being such a what I thought was going to be a normal kind of slow week, minus Abby's surgery this Friday, and kind of a little slightly busy week. Um, but I mean it's okay. As far as that goes, we got another storm rolling in. It seems like the last 3 out of 4 weeks, there has been a trend of Thursday heavy rains, Friday, Thursday into Friday icing, and then Friday snow. And that trend seems to be continuing. Only this time around, we have an entire day of rain to go, another extra day of rain to go with it. Which, I mean, whatever. Except for that's what canceled Abby's last surgery. But I am trying my hardest to get this garage done. Shelves up, things like that, so that way we can pull one of the cars in. Our Dodge Magnum, I mean, we don't drive it every day, so it does a lot of sitting, but when we do need it, I don't want it to be covered in, half-inch ice. It's happened to us once already, and that, even though we combated it, it'd just be much easier if it was in the garage. So anyhow, today we're gonna do a sesame seed chicken. But we're going to do it in a crock pot. I found this recipe online. I want to say I found it on All Recipes, which is a website, cook magazine. They've got several different, they're huge, things going on there. And I thought we'd give it a shot. I mean, it's a slow cooker. Doesn't seem like it takes that long to get together to put in the slow cooker. It takes about 4 hours or so in the slow cooker, and then a few more minutes of preparation after that, and we can eat. So I'm going to go ahead and get you down here at the countertop level so you can kind of see what's going on. And by the way, if you wouldn't mind subscribing, that'd be great. I'm always trying to grow our community here. If you don't want to, that's okay too. Completely up to you. But just the box down below me there, hit the subscribe button if you want to know when the videos come out. Hit the notifications. Thumbs up, thumbs down. They're appreciated, not necessary. We're not monetized, although they do help to grow the channel. It gets our views out there. It gets us a little more readily available on people's feeds. So anyhow, that being said, let's get down here to the countertop and let's get cooking, because I think this is going to be good. I can't tell you the last time I had sesame chicken. I don't even really remember what it tastes like, but I know it's good. I know my family eats it all the time. I'm more of a spicy guy myself. But that's all right, however it works. And for those of you that saw my video last week with the 3 different dishes to make for like parties and stuff, you'll remember we did some meatballs in the crock pot. And although I never did tell you last week, they actually turned out really good. They've got a nice pineapple-y taste, with some zestiness from all the other ingredients. It's a really good. The meatballs are really good. Me and Chris have made those before, but I mentioned that we were going to get a new crock pot. Looky here, new crock pot. I was so agitated by the fact that the knob on the old one was missing, and sometimes you didn't get it on the right temperature. So this one doesn't have a knob. It's just got buttons to push. It's very nice. Also came with a little small 1-quart pot. So to make this dish, you will need, for starters, a crock pot, and you will need a bowl. Those are the 2 tools you'll need. Something to stir with and whisk with. So, I mean, probably a whisk, and a spoon for down the road. Alright, so to make this dish, it's really easy. Almost everything that's in this dish you probably have in your kitchen stable already, in your pantry. That was the other reason why I chose it. Not only was it something that only takes, a couple minutes to put together here, but it's all stuff that's relatively, we should have most of this in your pantry anyhow. I can't think of one thing other than dried chopped onions that you may not have. And if you don't, that's okay. You can substitute it with just some fine diced onion, or not have it at all, depending. So your first thing that's going to go in this crock pot is 1.5 pounds of chicken. And we're just using chicken breasts for this. And you don't have to use, the recipe calls for breast, but you could use dark meat if you want, but traditionally this dish is made with a white meat. And we're just going to stick the entire chicken breast in here. We're not going to cut it up or anything yet. We are going to dice it up, but not till the end when it cooks a little bit. And then since I had some that I wanted to get used up, I'm going to use the little chicken tenderloins too. They're kind of like what you make not chicken nuggets, but chicken tenders out of. And it's actually the chicken tender. You buy it separately in the grocery store, or if you buy bone-in chicken breasts, they're usually on the bone-in chicken breast, but they're part of the breast. If you go, like when you go to your butcher and you buy chicken breasts there, they usually come with the tenderloin attached to it, and it's just off the side. You know, if you flatten the breast out, there's like a little section over to the right or the left, respectively, that's on the breast, and that's the tenderloin. That's the part that they make chicken tenders out of. So we got those. We're just laying those flat up in there. Let me wash my hands off real quick here. Actually, let me get you moved over here so you can better see what I'm doing. Hold on for me just 1 second. Okay, I hope that's better. At least now you can see what's going on. All right, so we got our chicken in the bottom of our crock pot, just sitting there hanging out, having a good time. Next thing we're going to need to do is in our bowl here, we're going to mix, we'll need some measuring cups also, and it's almost all liquids. We're going to need to mix in a 1/4 cup of soy sauce. We'll grab our soy sauce here. I didn't pre-measure out anything today. We're going to put in a 1/4 cup of soy sauce, which is going to give it its saltiness, because this recipe calls for no salt. And this is I consider it a type of Asian dish, although it's in a slow cooker, which is kind of weird. But you want that flavor in there for it, so a 1/4 cup of soy sauce. Yeah, so soy sauce. Chris says I pronounce it wrong. Well, everybody says I pronounce it wrong, but so if I got it wrong, sorry. We are going to need 2 tablespoons of ketchup. I know, that's where it got weird for me too, but then who am I to judge? Yeah, a recipe. Whoa, 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 that was crazy. 2 tablespoons of ketchup. Try not to spill it on your counter, but if you do, it's okay because it just wipes right up, right? You know, what is it they say? No blood, no foul. You know, although in this case, with it being ketchup, it looks like blood. There is our ketchup. Set our ketchup-y knife right there in case we need it for something else, because I'm sure we will. Clean up our ketchup here right quick. Bam. So we got our 1/4 cup of soy sauce. We got 2 tablespoons of ketchup. Next thing we're going to need is 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil. So we'll get our vegetable oil out because I forgot. You know, and I'm sure this is all adjustable by all means. You know, but I mean, it's sesame chicken, so I'm sure there's a kind of a straight following for it. Use our ketchup shot glass there for our vegetable oil. And it's not a shot glass, it's an actual measuring cup. I'll show you even though it's a mess. But if you see right there, it's got teaspoons, tablespoons, and ounces on it. And I've got, you know, the measuring cups come in all shapes and sizes. And then the next thing we're going to need is our honey, which is a 1/2 cup. And see, I've got another shot glass right here, but you know, we're not going to dirty this one up. We will just go ahead and use the one we use for the soy sauce. And I will take the lid off of this because if I try to push this out of this squeeze bottle, it will be forever. I mean, not that I'm against hanging out with you guys for a minute, but, you know, I'm trying my hardest to not take up too much of your day. I know my videos usually run long, and that's because I want you to get the full benefit of knowing what's going on. But we need a 1/2 cup of honey, right there. 1/2 cup. Go ahead and get our ketchup knife. Now, if you don't want to, if you want this to come out, you don't have, you know, you don't want to sit here and scrape so to speak. I mean, I personally don't mind. You can coat your whatever you're pouring your honey into, much like molasses and vegetable oil, and like we could have rubbed a little bit of vegetable oil on it, or got the spray out, or anything like that. But why not? I've already got a ketchup knife and an already usable bowl, so we're there. So we got half a cup of honey, we got 2 tablespoons of ketchup, a tablespoon of vegetable oil, a 1/4 cup of soy sauce, and then the next thing we're going to want to put into this is some garlic powder. So I need to put the lid on the honey, and we're going to put some garlic powder in here, which is awesome. And we're going to need a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. So we'll grab our 1/2 teaspoon measuring cup right there. Now I'm probably going to put a little more than a 1/2 teaspoon in this, just because, I mean, and you can make this your own. I mean, I'm following the rules for the most part because I've never had it before. And like I've said a bazillion times, if you're making a dish for the first time, you should try to follow the recipe, just because you want to see what the creator was thinking, so to speak, and then you adjust it to what you like and how you would want to do it together. How you'd want it to go. And then the last thing we need to put in this before we mix it up is some dried minced onion. Well, I don't have minced dried onion, but I have chopped dried onion, and we want 2 tablespoons of that. So I will get honey all over my one finger, and it's wanting to kindly stick to every other thing. All right, and then just 2 tablespoons of the minced dried onion, or in this case, chopped. Although I will say that looks kind of diced to me for being chopped. So I'll run with it. And then we need to take our whisk. We're going to whisk together. Ooh, that's thick. I guess it does, pretty much look like the sauce that goes on sesame chicken. So now this dish has 3 more ingredients, but we're not going to put them in yet. So we're going to whisk this together, and then we're going to pour it over it, and then then the cooking begins. So and then at the end we will add our sesame seeds. We will cut up our chicken and add some cornstarch to this to help kind of thicken it up. Now, if your chicken's frozen, it's okay if it's frozen. But your sauce may become a little runny. Most chicken, unless you're getting it straight from the butcher, which we haven't been able to do here as of late, it either has a chicken broth infused into it or water, depending. So when you buy chicken at the grocery store, keep that in mind. If you buy 5 pounds of chicken, depending on who you buy it off of, you may be getting about a pound and a half of water or broth, or brine, to go with it. So, where if you buy it from the butcher, you're getting just chicken. That's the difference between a butcher and a grocery store. Alright, so now we're going to take this, we're going to pour it all over our chicken, just like such. We'll get a rubber spatula out, that way we can grab that rubber spatula. We don't want to waste any of this sauce, because I'm here to tell you, even though not a thing's been cooked yet, this sauce smells great. And we just want to make sure it gets on the chicken. All over it. But the cornstarch we're going to add at the end will help with some of the moisture. Where if you let this thaw, like all thawed chicken, you get that little bit of, water in it, or the juice that sits in the bag or whatever it's in. That's if you use it frozen, that's what's going to be in here, and you might want to do this a little longer. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to plug our. Well, first I'm going to untie back of my dooflicky here. There we go. Jeez, Pete, you almost have to have a master's degree to get the cord undone. All right, well, undo that. We're gonna turn we're gonna turn it on. We're gonna turn the temp on low, because that's what the directions say, and we're gonna put it on for 4 hours. And then I think this is the most awesome feature on this new dish. So not only does it have a seal ring, which I've never had on any crock pot before, that's pretty cool, but it's also got these handy dandy clips, that I can recall that hold the lid on, which is nice. And I can recall, I don't remember those ever being an option when I first started cooking. So, and we'll just lock that down. That way we got a good tight seal, all the heat stays inside. So where are we headed with this? I told you this is going to be a quick weeknight meal. We're going to let this cook for 3 to 4 hours in the slow cooker, okay? And then that will give that meat a chance to cook. We're going to go 4 hours in this case. I always err on the side of the high end when it comes to crock pots. It's not going to hurt anything. Now, you can check it after 3 hours, but you're going to want to temp the meat. You know, you want to take its temperature, make sure it's not running a fever. You just want to make sure that meat's at 165 degrees and that it's not pink in the center. You know, if you take the biggest piece of meat that you have in there, put the thermometer in the biggest part of it, and it reads 165 degrees, you're pretty much golden. All right, so let's let this cook for 4 hours, and when I come back, we'll finish her up and hopefully give us a try. All right, I'll see you here just 1 millisecond, really. All right, see you in a minute. Okay, so it's been about 3 hours, 45 minutes. Chris actually turned the chicken for me while I was out in the garage working, and she said it's pretty much done. So we're gonna temp it real quick, and then if it's ready, we'll move on to the next steps. So let me get you down here, we're back to the counter, and we can see some stuff going on as soon as I loosen up some screws. There is that. Just don't want you guys to fall. That would be detrimental to everybody. Let's go ahead and pop this lid off, see where we're at. Ooh, looks good. All right, so our next steps are a couple things. That lid does get hot. If you buy one of these crock pots, remember, lid gets hot. We need to grab the tongs. First thing we need to do is get the chicken out of there. I'd say we are definitely done. Which is okay, because we're going to let this chicken rest for a minute out here on the table. Yes, dear. Oh.
Oh.
Now, I'm seeing a couple things that I think I would do differently next time. And I think I know why we didn't cut the chicken up beforehand, and that's because it's a slow cooker recipe. But I honestly think I will go ahead next time I make this, depending on how it tastes, which it smells great, and the chicken looks really good, so I can't imagine that it would be not very tasteful. But I think I would go ahead and cut the chicken up prior to, and maybe let it go just the 3 hours. Yeah, but we'll see. It might be easier to cut, but I know that chicken's really tender for 3 to 4 hours on low. Well, thank you, ma'am. All right, so next thing we need to do, I've got 3 tablespoons of water right here, and we need 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. Now with cornstarch, you want to kind of get it wet before you put it in any dish, because it has a tendency to clump. Yeah, I'm not going to say it happens every time, but I know the last couple times I cooked, I wasn't paying attention, and I put the cornstarch in prior, just straight in, didn't mix it, and it clumped. Yeah, not horrible, not bad, but you know, it still clumped, and that's something that you don't want to do. And we'll grab a mini whisk here.
And we'll go ahead and get it mixed up. Yeah, if you mix this up prior to, I don't know if you can see it in there, but and it turns a nice milky white, and it's, yeah, like I said, it hits that hot liquid in the crock pot or whatever you're cooking, and it automatically wants to clump up, and then you get these like little cornstarch balls, which aren't always healthy. Yeah, well, I mean, they're not unhealthy, but you get what tastes like a small little ball of dough, and you don't want that. All right, got that mixed up. So the next thing we're going to want to do is just pour this in. We'll grab our whisk. Yeah, see, look, no clumps, no nothing. Then we're going to grab our whisk. We're going to stir that up real good. And then the directions, the recipe says to let this cook on high for about 10 minutes. So that's what we're going to do. We'll turn this up to high. Just like that. I'm going to put the lid back on it, just like such. That way I can do that. And while that's happening, we'll go ahead and cube up our chicken. Well, let's temp it first. Let's see if we know where we're at. Now, I may have dropped the temperature a little bit, but yeah, we want to see right around 160 degrees. We'll get the biggest piece here. Yep, see, we're at 177. You can see that, 180. Yeah, so we're good. We're definitely there. The chicken is definitely done. Yeah, and that's what we're looking to do. So we'll use this bowl right here. And as we cut up our chicken, see how I got, it's wanting to shred more than anything. So that will be not a fail, because I mean it's still definitely edible. Yeah, but it won't be a true passing grade. If we'd have gone with our instincts and cut this up into chunks prior to putting it in there to cook, I think we'd have been all right. Yeah, see how it's wanting to shred more than anything. Of course, it doesn't help I'm not giving myself a lot of room to work with here. Let me do this. Because I guarantee this knife is sharp. Yeah, I mean, I know I haven't said it in a while, but one of the most important things when it comes to cutting, dicing, slicing, and all that good stuff is ensuring that your knives are, sharp. You want sharp. Sharp is way safer than dull. Dull, they can slip and, cause you undue anguish when you take a finger off. And nobody wants that. Yeah, see, getting it out of there. I still don't think I'm altogether sold on letting it cook and then cutting it up. Crock pots, I mean, I'm sure most of you know this, but when you cook in a crock pot, you're looking at your food getting tender, and I mean that's kind of what it does to meat. When you do a pulled pork or a beef or a shredded chicken, you're looking for that meat to get so tender that that worked. That the meat's so tender that it falls apart. That's the whole point of slow cooking. So, I think maybe it's just a catch-22. Maybe I'm just not thinking about it right. But I think that next go around, when we make this again, I mean, if we choose to, here, we're going to try pre-cutting up the meat. That way, all we have to do is, well, see, therein lies the problem with that too. Well, I could add this cornstarch in at the beginning. That's not going to hurt anything. There's plenty of recipes that do that. And then that way I don't have to worry about taking the meat back out. So maybe we'll try that the next time. Because this isn't a hard dish to make. I mean, as far as that goes, it's been pretty straightforward and easy, and quick. So I would think next time we try this, we will cut up the chicken. We will put the cornstarch in the beginning and see what happens there, because I think that would net us a better result. Now we're supposed to let that heat for 10 minutes, and what that's doing is allowing this to thicken up. So we'll get this all sliced up here. And we're having rice with this. I mean, you could have whatever you would like with it. If I would have thought a little further ahead of time, I could have gone to the store and picked up some egg rolls, I could have made egg rolls, but I don't know if you've ever made egg rolls. I've made them a few times. I've got a really good recipe for them. They can be time consuming if they're not something you're used to making. They're not hard. They can just be a little time consuming. I want to try this meat real quick. Ooh.
Hey.
I think that's going to be good, especially over rice.
I will.
Yeah, I would be careful, honey. That's really hot.
I will.
Abby, please. All right. So we get this all cut up. Now that I've talked through it, and you're like, Jesus, Brian, would you just hurry up and get to the point?
No, that's hot.
So, got that all diced and sliced. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this go for about another 5 minutes in the pot, like it says to. Because it says to take 5 minutes, and then we're going to put the chicken back in there, and we're going to add sesame seeds to it. I've got sesame seeds right here, and that there is no set amount for the sesame seeds. All right, so when I come back, we'll have the chicken in here, and we're going to plate it up and give it a shot. Okay, so we let that thicken up for like 10 minutes. And the recipe calls for it to slightly thicken up, and it has. And so I'm done with that. So now we got to put the chicken back in. And sorry for the lighting change, but when I pulled the slow cooker out from underneath there, I realized that there was an amazing glare coming off the sauce, and it didn't bother me any, but I didn't know if it was going to bother you, so I just kind of put it, turned the light off so that way we can see a little better. Now we're just going to mix this up real good, and I'm going to turn this off. Now, I think what we're going to do is I'm going to make this again. We'll make it again together, but we're not going to do the slow cooker recipe, and it may be in a couple weeks. Not that I'm against the slow cooker recipe so far. I mean, other than the chicken isn't staying together. Yeah, the chicken didn't stay together really the way I thought it would. Was hoping it would, which is fine. It is what it is. It was still going to taste good. So your presentation may be a little, and I would like to try this one more time, but like me and Chris were talking while it was thickening up. The recipe says it'll feed 4. And I suppose if you were having a bunch of other things with it, maybe an Asian type salad, maybe some egg rolls or some wontons or some steamed dumplings, yes. Or if you would like to have a lot of rice. But I don't think this would feed my family of 4. So I would almost recommend doubling up the recipe in its entirety. Or maybe putting a little more chicken in there. And this would probably feed, now like tonight Abby's not eating. Last thing we have to do is just add the sesame seeds to taste. Like such. And that looks like to taste to me. It's going to be completely up to you. If you like a lot of sesame seeds, great. If you don't. But for a family of 4 and to have a little left over, I would double this recipe. This will feed 3 people, like I said, at least in my house, with side dishes. And I mean, we have rice. So, I mean, if you're going to eat rice with it, rice does fill you up. That is not a lie. So, but I think when we do this next time in the slow cooker, we'll double the recipe. Now that being said, when we make it the next time in the skillet, it still doesn't take long. Most pan fried stuff just doesn't take long. I mean, at all. But yeah, I mean, see, like there's one helping for me, and that leaves, and I took almost half the crock pot. So I would definitely recommend doubling it. All right, so let me get you back up here and quit saying so, because I just realized I'm saying so a lot. And we will give this a shot. What do you say? Because I mean, it looks great. It smells great. And I know just from having that I had a little piece of the chicken that was on that. Well, I mean, you were with me, so you know. The chicken itself tasted pretty good, but I didn't have it with the sauce on it. So we're going to give her a shot here and see what we think. It's good. It's got a real good flavor. I'm not going to lie. I was weirded out about the ketchup. I thought that would be odd. But the blend of the honey, the ketchup, the soy sauce, and everything else we put in it. I don't even remember what all we put in it. Yeah, no, I think that's kind of spot on. Now, I mean, like I said, I can't tell you the last time I had sesame chicken. I usually do really spicy. So the true test will be when I stick it out there on the table. My son Brian is probably the big fan of sesame chicken. But I can tell you, as a guy that's never had this recipe before, it's definitely doable. I think you'll enjoy it. But what I would do, and this is just me, is double the recipe. I mean, I guess it depends on how many you're feeding and what kind of appetite you have. If it's just two of you, or just one of you, that's a couple, 2-3 meals. For one, 2 people, that's meals with like taking some to for lunch the next day. But I would definitely, I think that would be the only thing I'd change, is just do more of it. Because it's got really good flavor. The chicken is actually very tender, and I was worried about that. Because it had that kind of crust on the outside that you get with when you have chicken that's exposed. But all that was a crust flavor, and as soon as we put it back in the sauce, it went right with it. And that was actually, the couple pieces I had were very juicy, so it didn't lose that. I would almost, double it, and I want to try cutting it up the next time before I put it in. That way I can kind of play with it a little more. But it's definitely worth giving it a try. All right. Well, I'm going to get this to the table with the rice and drinks, and have some dinner with the family. Dinner is about eating. Obviously, you're probably hungry after a long day at work, or doing work around the house or whatever. But the main focus with dinner should always be hanging with your family. And I mean, sometimes you'll hear people make fun of that, but it's important. It's important for you to sit down. If you're a parent, it's important for you to sit down with your kids and have a dinner and conversation, find out how their days are, keeps you involved in their lives. Even if it's just you and your significant other, it gives you time to talk about things you did, things you saw, where you went, how, dinner is important for more reasons than just sitting down and having a meal. But if you're going to have a meal, try this one. Give it a shot. I don't think it's bad at all. Not at all. I would recommend this. The only thing I don't know if I'd do white rice, and if I'd have thought about it earlier, I would have made up some rice. That way it could have cooled, and we could have done fried rice, but I didn't think that far in advance, or maybe I did and just forgot. So anyhow, I love you. I love you very much, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Try this dish. Double the recipe and take some to your neighbor. They'll appreciate it. You'll make a friend. I guarantee it. Tell them you love them, and you love them very much. And this will show how much you love them. It's a good meal.
All right, so tomorrow we might do a cake. I got a couple different thoughts on cakes. I actually got 3 different thoughts on cakes. One of them is a chocolate, technically a 6-layer chocolate cake, but it's just 3 cakes combined, split. That's a chocolate cake with a strawberry buttercream icing. Or there's a no-bake cheesecake that I've been looking at also. And at the same time, kind of just want to do a pie. So we'll see. It'll really just depend on time. Got a lot going on. Me and Abby have to travel to Columbus tomorrow to get her COVID test done for her surgery. So depending on how long that takes and, everything else, I mean, we'll see how it goes. But if not, we will just bump it to next week or when we got a chance. All right? So until hopefully tomorrow, I love you, and I will talk to you later. All right? Bye.